in this video. Hello everybody and welcome to the 60-second video on my channel. And thank you always so much for watching my videos. I'm really happy that you're here and I hope you continue to watch my videos on these days forward. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button for more awesome videos just like this. And without further ado, let's move on to the lesson. Today's lesson is the last lesson in our three-part graphing mini-series of a trigonometric function. For our first video, we had sine and cosine of x. For our second video, we had tangent and cotangent of x. And for our last video, we have cosecant and secant of x. So, the odd and even functions are known in trigonometry and otherwise. And before we do it, I just want to touch up on something. Cosecant of x is an odd function, and secant of x is an even function. Now, even function means that if I have secant of negative x, that's equal to secant of regular x. An odd function means let's say cosecant, because that's actually an odd function. Cosecant of negative x is equal to minus cosecant of x. The reason I want you guys to know this is because it's going to help us in graphing secant and cosecant of x. So when I'm on the right side of the y-axis, and I just graph the rest of the side, you're not confused on like, how did he do this? And you don't have to plug in every value to know why. So let's get on to actually graphing these functions. First, let's label the axes for cosecant of x. So we have these axes labeled, and now it's time to actually graph cosecant of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with some of the obvious. Cosecant's asymptotes are at pi n, where n is any integer like 1, 2, or -1, -2, etc. So its first asymptote is going to be at 0. So we have a vertical line there. At pi over 2, cosecant of pi over 2, we know that because we can do pi over 2 sine of pi over 2, and that's equal to 1, and then 1 divided by 1 is equal to 1. So we have pi over 2 is equal to 1 there, and then remember we have asymptotes at all multiples of pi with an integer. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the vertical lines. So now that we have all the vertical lines drawn, at pi it's equal to 0, and at pi is equal to like infinity or an asymptote, and same with 0. So the first curve of the graph is going to look something like this, kind of like a parabola or like x squared. Now it's kind of the opposite for pi to 2 pi. We're going to start here, and sine of 3 pi over 2 is -1, but 1 divided by -1 is still -1. So we're going to have it over here, and then the second curve is going to look something like this, with these two going down. Now, what's going to happen here is cosecant of negative pi over 2, isn't cosecant an odd function, it's going to be the exact opposite of cosecant pi over 2. So we're going to have a dot here, and there we go. What we're going to have is the same thing that happened from 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi, and then the opposite from -3 pi over 2, from negative pi to -2 pi. So this is how the graph of cosecant of x is going to look. Now for secant of x, we're going to label the axes in the same way and get to graphing it. So we have all the axes labeled, and now it's time to graph secant of x. So unlike cosecant of x, its asymptotes are at pi over 2, at multiples of pi over 2. So pi over 2n. Sorry, no, not pi over 2n. Pi over 2 plus pi n. Now the reason this is, and even I slipped up, it's because it's kind of tricky, is it's multiples of pi n, multiples of pi, but you have to add pi over 2 because it's on every odd multiple of pi over 2. But in math, it's weird to say every odd multiple. So in math, we just say pi n, where n is any integer. So we can just draw the vertical lines there, the dashed vertical lines. So now that we have the asymptotes drawn, we can actually get to graphing. Secant of 0 is 1, and the reason this is because cosine, because secant of x is equal to 1 over cosine of x, and cosine of 0 is equal to 1, so 1 over 1 is just 1. Now, what the graph's going to look like here is we're going to have the same parabola shape, and this is going to be over here. Now, it's the exact opposite from pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2, since the cosine of pi is -1, and 1 over -1, and 1 over -1 is -1. So this is going to be over here, and this is going to go down like this. Now, 2 pi, which is the same as 0, is going to have 1. So, until 2 pi, the graph is going to look like this. Now, since this is an even function, we can mirror it. -2 pi will also have 1, and it will have an asymptote over here. From negative pi over 2 to -3 pi over 2, it's going to be the same from pi over 2 to 3 pi over 2. So the graph is going to look something like this. And there you have it, the final two trigonometric functions graph, cosecant of x and secant of x. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one, and bye-bye.